It was one of the deadliest avalanches in Utah's history. Tonight, we're remembering the 4 victims from last night's avalanche, plus taking a look back at the history to see just how often we see avalanches claim multiple lives.
Plus, controversy continuing to grow in North Ogden after a charter school offers parents the choice to opt out of learning about Black history this month. Politicians and stars on the basketball court weighing in tonight.
A man in Ogden dead after being shot by police. What investigators say led up to that confrontation.
This is Utah's Dixie. There's a story behind it.
The debate over Dixie in Dixie State University, a nod to the proud pioneer past or a controversial word with a negative impact on the future for its students. We take a deeper dive into the issue tonight in our 360 report.
And looking ahead through the week, we have both a minor and a major storm. When do they hit? I'll let you know in the forecast.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
All those individuals will be brought down today so that their families can prepare for funeral arrangements and lay them to rest.
Today, the 4 backcountry skiers who did not survive yesterday's deadly avalanche near Mill Creek Canyon were brought down off of the mountain so they can be laid to rest.
Unified Police have identified the victims as 29-year-old Sarah Mugamian, 26-year-old Lewis Holian, 26-year-old Stephanie Hopkins, and 23-year-old Thomas Lewis Steinbrecher, all of them from Salt Lake County. Welcome to Fox 13 News at 9. We begin with the somber news tonight. I'm Amy Nay.
And I'm Brian Schnee. There were also 4 survivors that had been buried by the avalanche. They were all men between the ages of 23 and 38.
Fox 13 Sydney Glenn joins us in Mill Creek Canyon tonight, where she spoke with a member of the Utah Avalanche Center about how rare an event like this really is.
Brian and Amy, Craig Gordon with the Utah Avalanche Center says we are seeing unprecedented avalanche conditions out here right now. He says the only other time we've ever seen 4 people killed in one single avalanche was back in 1992. It's a day that will go down in history. 8 people caught in an avalanche. 4 of them never made it home.
It's tragic, and our heart goes out to them. Our deepest condolences to you. This is horribly tragic.
Saturday's accident makes for 6 people who have died in Utah avalanches in less than a month. Craig Gordon with the Utah Avalanche Center teared up just thinking about it.
I know that everyone loves the snow in the mountains as much as I do. And it is very hard to see young lives who have that exact same passion who no longer are able to share that with their friends and their family.
Gordon says this warm winter is making for very dangerous conditions in Utah's backcountry.
So the foundation is structurally compromised. It's like a bunch of dominoes sticking up like this. We put a dense, heavy slab on top, we kick the dominoes over, and boom, now we're staring down the barrel of a very dangerous avalanche.
People should check the avalanche forecast before they do anything in the backcountry, plus have the proper avalanche rescue gear and know how to use it.
Once we have to deploy that, that means that the accident has already happened. And as we have seen in recent events, the outcome is devastating. It's tragic. It's catastrophic.
The last time more than 1 person died in a single Utah avalanche was in 2013. Gordon says it's just so difficult to see the tragedy this year has already brought, knowing the snowpack is still very unstable.
This is unprecedented to have 6 avalanche fatalities in just the span of less than a month. It gives a really good indicator how sketchy things are right now, how deceptively tricky the avalanche conditions are, and unfortunately this isn't a condition that's changing anytime soon.
Even though we do have some snow storms in our forecast coming up, Craig Gordon says that will actually only make things more dangerous. He says in order to really get things under control, we need several strong, consistent snowstorms to help with the snowpack. In Mill Creek Canyon, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
University of Utah Health releasing a statement mourning the death of Stephanie Hopkins. They say she was a nurse at U of U Health who worked in the neurocritical care unit. They say she was loved and respected by her colleagues and that they send their condolences to her family and loved ones during this difficult time.
We also want to bring you a live look at a GoFundMe page that has been started for the surviving skiers involved in this deadly avalanche. Right now, it has raised more than $3,100. If you would like to donate, we can link you at our website, fox13now.com.
Those with the Utah Avalanche Center always recommend being prepared with the appropriate gear in the backcountry, which can be purchased at stores locally. Level 9 Sports in Salt Lake City, one local spot that has avalanche kits. Their staff recommends having an avalanche transceiver, a probe, and a shovel, as well as a backpack that comes equipped with an airbag. The staff not only says having the right gear is vital, but also knowing exactly how to use it.
The most important thing that they can bring, though, is some knowledge. So being educated on avalanche terrain, avalanche travel, and how to mitigate your chances of being caught in an avalanche.
Like most equipment, an avalanche gear kit or package does come with a price tag, but it's essential when venturing into the backcountry. The gear still isn't a 100% guarantee for safety either. In some instances, like this past weekend, all 8 skiers in the Wilson Glade avalanche were wearing beacons, which is why knowing the conditions and following UAC forecasts is just as valuable for your safety.
And stay with Fox 13 News as we continue to track the fallout from this deadly avalanche that claimed 4 lives, as well as future avalanches this season. We're going to keep you up to date on air and online. We're at fox13now.com.
Breck Bolton in the Weather Center tonight. Breck, a beautiful bluebird day across most of the state of Utah, but will that change throughout the course of this week?
Oh, that is going to change. It has been short-lived, but enjoyable here throughout the weekend. Yeah, it was a beautiful day with a lot of sunshine and temperatures above normal. Let's first, though, just update on the avalanche situation. We still hold on to a high danger level across the mountains of northern Utah as we're incorporating all the way through Cache Valley, moving down through the Wasatch Mountains over towards the western Uinta Mountains. Considerable danger turning towards central Utah. This gets updated every morning, so we'll see where things stand for tomorrow. But again, really keeping things very cautious if you're going to do any planning moving over towards the backcountry. It was a beautiful day, though, and a beautiful sunset, though, as we ended the day looking across the Salt Lake Valley with a few high clouds around. Yeah, making for a spectacular just display of colors here throughout the early evening hours. As temperatures, as mentioned, well above normal by about 15 degrees. We made it up to 55 degrees in Salt Lake City. Low 50s in Provo as well as in Price. Even breaking free of some cold air in Vernal, where you climbed to 47 degrees, 45 in Logan. Through central southern Utah, many locations close to 60 degrees. We did get in the 60s once again in St. George. Now, we do have some clouds in place, northern through central Utah. Thus, as we're looking at temperatures, they've been cooling off, but not at a fast pace there with those clouds overnight. Yes, temperatures dipping down into the 30s, but keeping it above normal as those clouds now in place, posing no threat of any precipitation. They'll just act like a blanket here for tonight. And we're going to be starting the work week off with no concerns of seeing any showers for your morning commute. We will see some clouds, though, temperatures getting down into the low 30s. But on the hills, we are seeing another storm rolling through with some quick changes. And I mentioned a big winter storm. When does that hit? I'll let you know coming up.
We turn now to COVID-19 here in Utah, and the State Department of Health reported 908 new COVID-19 cases today. That's a real drop, and it continues the positive trend of infections decreasing here in our state. Our weekly positive COVID test rate is now just above 15%. ICU beds in our state are now at 81% capacity.
3 more Utahns have died from the virus. The victims were from Tooele, Utah, and Weber counties. The state of Utah has now lost 1,736 lives due to the pandemic.
312,000 people have gotten at least their first shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. Almost 102,000 people have received the recommended second dose. Throughout the entire pandemic, the Salt Lake City School District has been the only district in Utah to not offer in-person learning.
But this week, a big step will be made to bring a lot of students back to the classroom. Starting tomorrow, middle and high school students can return to class in person for 2 days a week. 2 weeks ago, pre-K, kindergarten, and first graders were given the option to return in person as well. This has been a hot topic among parents and educators for months now. We've had continued coverage for you, and we'll have more tomorrow on Fox 13 News.
We're learning new details tonight about what led to a suspect being shot and killed by police in Ogden.
That suspect still has not been identified, but investigators believe he was involved in several crimes in the hours before the fatal confrontation.
Fox 13's John Franke has the story for us tonight from Ogden.
Investigators say that suspect sexually assaulted a woman, stole her car, and then led police on a chase. They eventually found him. He was shot when investigators say he pulled a gun. It's a crime spree investigators believe started with a sexual assault on the 100 block of 26th Street.
The suspect took the victim's vehicle and fled the area when the assault was completed.
Several hours later, officers spotted the stolen car near 30th and Washington. The suspect was inside with a second woman.
The suspect, when driving the stolen vehicle, had just offered her a ride, and she accepted and ended up in the wrong car at the wrong time.
The woman got out safely and the suspect ran. Friday's snow proved to be a benefit for officers.
The officers located footsteps in the backyard of a house in the snow in the 2900 block of Grand Avenue, and followed those footsteps to what I've described as an open garage or kind of a lean-to shed behind the house where a truck was parked.
The officers found the man hiding in a truck.
The suspect stood up in the bed of the pickup truck, armed with a handgun. The suspect refused to comply with commands from the officers.
That's when both officers shot their gun, killing the suspect.
It was within a few seconds.
Police have released few details about the man. Chief Eric Young described him as Hispanic and in his 20s or 30s. He's not from Utah and had not spent much time in the Ogden area.
I'm very proud of the brave work our officers do.
Not even a year since Ogden police officer Nathan Lyday was killed in the line of duty, Chief Young believes these volatile incidents are an example of the dangers facing law enforcement.
Events of these bring focus to the challenging circumstances police officers face each day in their work.
Both officers involved were wearing body cameras. That footage has been turned over to the Weber County investigative team. Ogden police say it'll be made public as soon as possible. In Ogden, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Chief Young adds both women who encountered the suspect are physically okay. They are being provided resources from a victim's advocate.
And this is not the only shooting involving police here on the Wasatch Front this weekend. 3 police officers shot and killed a Kearns man last night. Unified Police and West Valley City Police were called out to a home on China Clay Drive where a man is said to have put a gun to his 15-year-old grandson's head. Grandma and the 3 other grandchildren escaped to a neighbor's house. The man then barricaded himself and refused to come out. Police say he fired at officers and they fired back, killing him. Salt Lake City Police is the outside agency now in charge of this investigation. Of course, if you or someone you know is involved in a situation where domestic violence is at hand, there is help out there. There are some resources. You can call the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition at any time. And of course, if you're in immediate danger, call 911.
Lots more ahead on Fox 13 News at 9. Police in Salt Lake City working to figure out what led up to a homeless woman's death at a makeshift camp in the front yard of a home. Hear from investigators and the man behind that camp.
I totally understand both sides of it, and I understand how hard that is because I have such a love for Dixie.
Student body president there from Dixie State University says change needs to happen to help the school continue to grow and to ensure a bright future for its students. But local residents say this will come with a cost, and they wonder what will happen next. The story of Utah's Dixie dilemma in our 360 report a little later.
Now to a developing story. Salt Lake City police are looking for a driver involved in a deadly hit and run overnight. Investigators say the driver of a silver SUV hit a 78-year-old man near the intersection of 200 West and 400 South just after midnight. The victim later died at the hospital. If you have any information, please contact Salt Lake City Police.
Well, a woman living at a homeless camp set up in a Salt Lake City man's front yard died this morning. Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke with Salt Lake City Police about it, as well as the man hosting those living on the street about what happened.
Salt Lake City Police say emergency crews were called to the homeless camp just after 6 o'clock Sunday morning.
When medical arrived, they found the 45-year-old female in the tent that had passed away.
Salt Lake City resident Darren Mann opened his front yard to homeless individuals about a week ago.
I really wanted to create this space as a haven for people. But it's become very apparent to me that we have to come up with a community solution that's lasting.
Mann plans to start a GoFundMe campaign to build a tiny home village to help house those experiencing homelessness.
If we can come up with the funds as a community and we can start coming up with a community solution, then the city must start moving forward with us in that endeavor.
Salt Lake City Police say the cause of death is still under investigation and are working with the county health department to get those living in Mann's front yard into shelters.
And we plan on today sending down some social workers to that area to see if we can give some help to the other people that are camping there, see if we can provide them some shelters to go to and some transportation to get there.
Mann was issued a code violation last week after city officials received several complaints and was ordered to clean the camp up.
I think there's a lot of health concerns, especially when you have a large group of people camping out together like that. There's the health and safety concerns, which is where the health department gets involved.
It's just an absolute tragedy. Getting to know this woman has been quite a blessing.
Darren says he will work with city and county officials moving forward to help those living on his property find shelters and other homeless resources. The Salt Lake County Health Department has not yet responded to our request for comment on the issue. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks so much, Diego. An update now tonight on a story in North Ogden that is making national headlines.
A Montessori charter school is under fire after sending out an email giving parents the option to opt their kids out of Black History Month curriculum. Maria Montessori Academy has already reversed course on the controversial move. Today, members of Utah's congressional delegation and even the Utah Jazz are commenting on the matter.
Congressman Blake Moore released a statement on this, saying in part, quote, "I share the disappointment and sadness at the news that some in the Ogden area community sought to opt out of Black History Month lessons and events." He goes on to say that we cannot learn American history without learning Black history.
Donovan Mitchell with the Utah Jazz tweeting out his disappointment, saying that racism is taught and that parents telling kids to not learn about Black history is sickening and sad. Mitchell's teammate Rudy Gobert also sounding off on social media, saying, quote, "Kids can't be opted out of the many lies that they are taught the rest of the year."
Time right now for us to talk about the weather. Breck, we got a nice little storm as we headed into this weekend, and then we had a gorgeous sunny weekend. So when does the snow come back again?
Well, this has been really a timely pattern. Of course, storm before the weekend, storm after the weekend. Sandwiched in between, we saw the sunshine and some mild temperatures for most locations. Though I share a photo coming in as we look from Ryan Rose, Bear Lake, low-level clouds, blue sky above. He says it was cold and windy today. We had some stronger winds across extreme northern Utah, southwest Wyoming, over towards Wendover. Looking at the current wind situation right now, still finding some strong winds, maybe from Manila over towards Vernal. All in all, it's not a big concern for tonight. And really for the rest of the state, it was quite enjoyable today. Official high in Salt Lake City, 55 degrees. On average, we should be in the low 40s. Definitely not close to the record set back in 2015 at 68 degrees, even though we did find 60s in St. George. Right now, though, with mostly cloudy skies along the Wasatch Front, as winds are calm, we're still in the 40s, close to 50 degrees, though, in Provo, where with these clouds tonight, temperatures not dropping as much. Now, let's look ahead. Positive news as it pertains to trying to help us get out of our drought situation, build our snowpack. Of course, the concern with additional building of that snowpack, avalanche concern will remain high here as we start the work week off. But this is good news. Looking over the next 6 to 10 days from the Climate Prediction Center, looking at least across portions of northern Utah, above normal precipitation. Actually, it's the wettest spot across the whole country we're either going to be at normal or above levels. And storms and timely storms that'll be hitting western United States, definitely having an impact here across the state. Now, we've got 2 storms to focus in on. The first storm this week is going to do a little bit of provides for precipitation across northern Utah as we transition from Monday into Tuesday. Now, ahead of that storm, some clouds rolling through northern into central Utah as we'll be looking upstream where those clouds coming into play for tomorrow. The disturbance off towards the west, this is what will be making its move towards the state and really having an impact mainly across northern and central Utah. So let's look over the next 48 hours. what the computer models are showing. Yes, we're seeing the clouds tonight into tomorrow morning. They fade out just a little bit and then return tomorrow afternoon. So we get a mixture. Well, we'll start off cloudy, see some sunshine, and then reintroduce the clouds a little bit thicker into the afternoon. Now, the showers get going early Tuesday morning, initially for the mountains, but they do spill over into the valleys. Kind of a mixture of rain and snow. Not expecting to see snow accumulations. Mountains, yes, maybe 2 to 3 inches, maybe a little bit more in some spots. And then we'll see some wet roads through the Tuesday morning commute. Really the biggest concern will be through the canyon passes and even potentially in the afternoon as well. Then that storm moves on, a bigger one lining up Thursday, Friday into next weekend, as we'll be talking about what that impact will be as we look towards the end of the week. Tonight, though, it's just the clouds, as overnight lows dipping down into the 30s here along the Wasatch Front, 20s though through central Utah, low 30s in St. George, where we're looking at mostly clear skies across the south. Tomorrow, it's on and off again. We'll allow those clouds to push through. We'll see some sunshine, and we'll also see some mild temperatures. But again, tomorrow afternoon, we see the gray skies, both through northern and central Utah, but we do not see the showers until early Tuesday morning, at least across portions of northern and central Utah. Southern Utah, you're staying dry, and you're holding on to the 60s. Few more clouds Wednesday. Now, the bigger storm that hits towards the end of the week, it will bring a chance of rain and cooling temperatures off Friday, and a better possibility of seeing some rain showers on Sunday. Now, there could be a period of time in the overnight hours with some showers that we might see a mixture of rain and snow. Now, for northern Utah, again, for tomorrow, we're going to be looking at a few clouds here and there. Tuesday, we get here early with some showers, kind of a mixture of rain and snow. The biggest focus, again, will be over the higher terrain. Wednesday, some clouds. Thursday, we start off with some scattered rain and snow showers, turning into snow by Friday. You see the temperatures cooling off. Scattered snow showers Saturday, but into Saturday and Sunday, that's where we see the heaviest snow. And it looks like a decent storm with a direct hit, and that's what we need to see, and more storms as we look towards next week. So we're back into that storm cycle.
All right. Thanks so much, Brack. Coming up here on Fox 13 News at 9, we're going to show you how the Jordan School District is working with students and families to keep virtual learning going.
And don't forget, when you can't watch us live here on Fox 13, you can always watch us streaming online for free. We're on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for Fox 13 on your device. We'll be right back.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. The Jordan School District is expanding its virtual learning opportunities for students for the upcoming school year. The district preparing to open 3 new, unique schools with their own principals, names, and identities. They will be called Kings Peak High School, Kelsey Peak Virtual Middle School, and Rocky Peak Virtual Elementary School.
I love it. I actually look forward to going to school every single day and teaching the kids. Even though I see their faces in a little small square, I get excited to see them every day.
It gives student choice on where, when, and how they learn. That's really what we're looking at, is to help students be successful, but also give them the power and the choice to choose when that happens.
Now, the district says the new schools will also give students opportunities for in-person instruction twice a week at 2 locations in the district.
As you likely know, the pandemic did not stop the Super Bowl from happening this year, and it didn't stop local fans from heading out to enjoy the game.
We're a year into this now, and people have come around. This is the new normal.
Bridget Gordon is the owner of the Green Pig Pub in Salt Lake City, and she says pulling off a party during the pandemic has been hard, but it's completely worth it. She says while there are fewer people in her pub, the Super Bowl Sunday excitement remained the same.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl. People, I think with the people getting vaccinated and people are used to wearing masks now, we're coming out. As you can see, we're still doing our social distancing with our partitions, so it's making a big difference.
Utah Department of Health wants to remind you that if you do attend parties, to stay at least 6 feet apart from anyone who doesn't live in your home and always wear a mask.
You do the best you can, but then once you know better, you do better.
Dixie State administrators say it's time for the school to rethink its name, believing Dixie is harmful to its students. The argument against that and a deeper dive into an impact study on the word as we take you in depth on this issue in our 360 report coming up next. This week, Dixie State University took their request to drop Dixie from their name to state legislators. In tonight's 360 report, we take a closer look at that issue, speaking to the university president, dean of students, local residents, and others at the school, as well as going more in depth on a study on the impact of the word Dixie.
It was a difficult thing for me initially, just because I'm from here. I understand what Dixie means here locally.
Dale Beatty is dean of students at Dixie State University.
I went to Dixie State. I loved it.
But lately, he's had a change of heart when it comes to the name.
In fact, 8 years ago, when we first became Dixie State University, there was discussion at that time about possibly changing the name. We probably should have done it back then.
After a lot of study, all voted unanimously to change the name of our university to remove the word Dixie.
Speaking to us from the state capitol, where he's trying to convince legislators, DSU President Richard Williams says they're not trying to erase the area's rich history, but help improve the future for students.
It's a term of endearment. It's something that people are used to and they like. But the fact of the matter is that the word Dixie means different things to different people outside of southern Utah.
A House Committee on Higher Education approved the bill by an Ogden representative to remove the Dixie name from the university. It will now go to the full House, then the Senate.
What's in the name?
This community meeting held in December.
This is the impact of a word on certain groups.
The school's marketing director on a university-commissioned Cicero study.
This study didn't look at our programs, it didn't look at our reputation, it didn't look at the experience students were having, this is just the name.
According to the report, 25% of southwestern Utah, 44% of greater Utah, and 56% out-of-state respondents believe the name has a negative impact on the institution's general brand. As for whether Dixie is associated with the Confederacy, 33% of southern Utah residents, 41% of Utahns, and 64% out of state said yes.
But if you look at the name Dixie and apply it through history, it is not the term that I think you're giving it the credit for. Dixie does not represent the Confederacy. There's a thing called Utah's Dixie that it relates to.
Tim Anderson has lived and practiced law in St. George the past 42 years and works with the coalition to defend southwestern Utah heritage.
As we all know, it relates back to pioneers coming to southern Utah to grow cotton.
He acknowledged that in the university's past, there was a time they used the Confederate flag and called themselves the Rebels, something he campaigned to change when he was Dixie College Foundation president in 1991.
The name Dixie never had anything to do with the Confederacy relative to the story of Utah's Dixie.
Last month, the Dixie Regional Medical Center became simply Intermountain St. George Regional Hospital. Anderson believes administrators are being caught up in a cancel culture, trying to eliminate what he says should be revered, a proud pioneer heritage.
But they decided to, in effect, race bait our community. And that's not something that we're going to tolerate.
From the same study, 79% of local residents do not support a name change at the university.
In our case, they're simply asking us to give up too much. Dixie's the heritage that we grew up with.
They support the Save Dixie movement, something growing online, like in this GoFundMe page created by local resident Eileen Hacker, who told Fox 13, "We are very hopeful that the legislature will vote against the Dixie State name change. I feel our history and heritage are at stake. My pioneer ancestors came to southern Utah in 1861 with the Dixie Cotton Mission. DSU administration is using a race card, creating a problem where one did not exist."
The history becomes so important when it comes to a name, and every large university realizes that strength.
Just like you wouldn't go to Provo to change the name Brigham Young University, you don't come to Utah's Dixie to change the name of the principal flagship institution.
And Anderson refutes the university's claims that the name Dixie hurts its students.
To try to claim that somehow it hurts someone's opportunity for a job, that's made up. We don't think it's true.
64% of the current student body support the name.
I do see both sides of it, so I do understand, but I think that the majority of people want to keep the name, and so I think the majority is what should dictate what happens.
I do understand the ties to the local meaning of it. I understand that, but the rest of the world doesn't, and that's what makes it hard.
Dixie State has added 111 academic programs and increased its student body by 41% in the last 5 years.
growth administrators believe may be impeded.
It's not saying that we don't love it and that we don't respect it. We just have to be honest that there are more negative connotations than it is positive.
But older alumni, according to the study, say their support of the university will change if its name does.
It doesn't mean at all what maybe the rest of the world or the rest of the nation perceives it to be.
There is a lot of information in that impact study. If you'd like to see those findings yourself on the name Dixie, we have posted that on our website at fox13now.com.
We've got much more to bring you here on Fox 13 News at 9. Coming up, a Utah student believes the COVID-19 lockdown may have a silver lining, what he uncovered and what it could mean for Utah's air quality.
I love being a part of this. Like I said, museums are all about community, giving back.
Some lucky Utah students getting a chance to hold history in their hands. We'll show you the high school program that is creating unique career opportunities for these students when we come back. Some lucky Utah high school students getting a unique chance to hold history in their own hands and expand their minds. And it's all thanks to the Hill Air Force Base's Aerospace Museum. Fox 13's Aaron Cox takes a look at how this class could shape their futures.
For every guy you see flying a jet, there's 100 guys on the ground that are supporting that mission. This is science, this is technology, it's engineering, and it's math, all rolled into one career.
This year, students with the Utah Military Academy are using some brand new equipment to work on a classic aircraft.
They're working on the F-117 stealth fighter. This was our first stealth fighter in the Air Force inventory. They get to work with this airframe. How cool is that?
For the past few years, the Hill Air Force Base's Aerospace Museum partnered with the Academy.
The aircraft in the air park, they do suffer from the elements, and so there's always stuff that needs to be fixed on them every spring. And the students you see behind me here will be doing a lot of the work on the aircraft in the air park.
So our collection benefits and also the students benefit from this firsthand experience with unique pieces.
Thanks to this new building, which was paid for by the Falcon Hill Enhanced Use Lease Program, these students are getting to use the most high-tech equipment to restore a historic aircraft every year.
They get to work on, historical airframes during World War II. For example, the B-29, the Super Fortress. They're helping, build skins for our B-29 to help protect it and so that will reflect as it did when it flew over 80 years ago.
Giving them a unique opportunity in a field that not many kids get to experience.
There's not a lot of high school students in the state that I'm aware of that are learning this kind of stuff.
I love being a part of this. Like I said, museums are all about community, giving back and getting involvement and becoming a necessary piece of that community.
High school students who want to take this class can start by enrolling in the Utah Military Academy. Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you want to see some of the aircraft in person, the museum is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free to visit, and there are COVID-19 precautions in place to keep your family safe.
Well, if the pandemic does have a silver lining, it may be that more people are working from home, and Utah's air quality, because of that, has improved. One Utah student has the data to prove it. Fox 13's Tamara Villanueva spoke with this young scientist about his new research and how he hopes he can use it to help everyone here in Utah.
I'm very interested in environmental sciences and how we keep our earth clean and how we make it a better world for everyone.
Meet Caleb Groh, a senior at Jordan High School who is working to help make your air quality better.
I work with Envision Utah as a member of the Youth Council.
And recently, with the help of data from Utah's own Hawthorne Air Quality Monitoring Station, he began looking at the impact of last year's lockdown had on the air we all breathe.
The COVID-19 pandemic has provided a really unique opportunity to actually study what did happen when cars were removed from the road.
And his study found some dramatic results.
In the month after the lockdown, in which car and traffic volumes declined by up to 40%, there's a 28% reduction in nitrogen dioxide levels. Nitrogen dioxide acts as a precursor gas to creating the two most important pollutants, the two most difficult pollutants, I guess, that we struggle with here in the Salt Lake Valley, which is ozone and PM 2.5.
Now, after his study, Caleb hopes to take his finding to Utah legislators and work with them on creating laws that would help the environment.
Air quality affects everyone. Personally, I know I'm a huge bike rider. I love to ride my bike. And when the air quality is bad, I can feel it. I can feel it in my lungs. And I'm a healthy person. So I imagine that for my grandparents or for other people who have struggles with breathing, air quality is a big deal for them, and they can always feel it.
Tamara Vaifanua, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And if you'd like more information on Caleb's study, plus a look at some of the air quality legislation that is currently being debated on Capitol Hill, we've got it at our website, fox13now.com.
Before we go to break, let's share a time-lapse video from the Oquirrh Mountains. No big changes throughout the day until we hit the afternoon. We brought in some clouds, not bringing the showers as of yet, but we'll see snow soon. I'll tell you when after the break.
And coming up in sports, Super Bowl 55, the Chiefs and Buccaneers, Mahomes versus Brady. Who came out on top? And the Jazz capped their 3-game road trip with another win. Highlights from Indy are on the way.
And hammers home another bucket.
Well, coming off a calm weekend where we found temperatures, again, quite mild temperatures that we typically experience in the middle of March rather than the middle of February. So ahead of month, but don't worry, Mother Nature, knowing we're still in the winter season, we're going to see winter making a quick comeback. Right now, though, calm conditions in St. George. We're in the upper 40s, light winds as well. Turning towards Salt Lake City, we've got temperatures in the low 40s with a blanket of clouds in place across northern Utah, posing no problems as far as any precipitation is concerned. We will not see that here, at least here for the next 24 hours. Then we introduce our first storm of actually 3 over the next 7 days. Let's reflect back, though, over the past week, where I want to show you temperature-wise where we were at last week and how we ended the week going into the weekend, where we found temperatures above normal last Sunday through about Wednesday. Then a cold front hit, dropping those temperatures in the 30s. We saw all that snow in the mountains. We're on a similar course this week. We'll keep temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s up until about Wednesday. Then we're going to see 30s return with a bigger storm looking towards next weekend. Now, across the state, northern, down through portions of southern Utah, a few high clouds in the area. Under this northwest flow will allow clouds to come tracking through portions of northern Utah, where we start off with some clouds. We see some sunshine throughout the late morning hours into the early afternoon, and then more upper level clouds coming into play, in that we don't see showers from it as of yet, but a disturbance will be rolling through as we look towards late tomorrow night through early Tuesday morning. That reintroduces, once again, some showers across northern Utah. Let's look long range now at our computer models, where the first focus will be this weak storm that hits again early Tuesday morning with most of the impact across northern Utah. We start off with mountain snow showers, a mixture of rain and snow for the valleys into Tuesday, as temperatures again will stay in the 40s. So as we progress throughout the day, it will all be rain, kind of very light, on and off again, not a big storm. It moves on by Wednesday. Then Thursday, we start to see some showers extreme northern Utah. And then Thursday into Friday, the big storm and the cold front moves through. That'll bring widespread precipitation, dropping temperatures, and then things lining up heading into Saturday and Sunday, where again, a direct hit from a storm brings widespread snowfall across the state. And this is what we've been waiting for, getting that direct feed from the Pacific Northwest, holding together, not splitting apart. That's what this storm is looking like right now. As it's lining up, hopefully it holds true, because this is a storm that can produce, upwards of 2 feet or more for the mountains. Keeping our fingers crossed, as we've seen storms like this before this season. Sometimes they split up, but hopefully that will not be the case for this upcoming weekend. So get ready for winter weather next weekend. But enjoy the nice temperatures and what we'll find tomorrow across the state, where we'll be bouncing back and forth with some clouds and some sunshine as we look at your hour-by-hour forecast to start off your Monday morning, getting you ready up until the noon hour, where again, temperatures about where they were today, maybe a degree or two cooler, as we'll be looking at low 50s from Salt Lake City down through Provo. Upper 40s in Ogden, we've got 40s in Vernal, and 60s once again in St. George. So tomorrow we get less blue sky, More clouds, but not a bad day. And for St. George, we keep it nice up until about Wednesday, then a chance of some rain showers on Friday into Sunday as well. Northern Utah, we have those showers mainly in the mountains on Tuesday. Wednesday, some clouds, then the bigger storm hits. Scattered showers Thursday and Friday with more snow heading into the weekend. This will have an impact both for the valleys and the mountains. So there's our winter weather. But for tomorrow, we still get to taste some spring.
Super Bowl 55 featured the defending champions Kansas City Chiefs and their amazing young quarterback Patrick Mahomes against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the all-time great Tom Brady. Mahomes was just 6 years old when Brady won his first Super Bowl title, but the 43-year-old still has it, back to his record 10th Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. Slow start for both quarterbacks, but Brady and the Bucs took the lead in the first quarter. To his old buddy, Rob Gronkowski, Tampa Bay up 7-3. Then in the second quarter, Brady with the time to throw, and he goes back to Gronk. 17-yard touchdown strike, the Bucs up 14-3. Penalties hurt the Chiefs, and the Bucs took advantage. Brady to Antonio Brown, another touchdown. Tampa Bay led it 21-6 at the half. They kept it rolling in the second half. Leonard Fournette breaks free and goes 27 yards to the end zone. Tampa Bay was up 28-9. Mahomes and the Chiefs offense just could not get it going. Just 3 field goals and no touchdowns. Mahomes did his best here, but it went off the receiver's face mask on 4th down. Would not be a repeat for Holmes and the Chiefs. Instead, the Buccaneers won it 31-9. Tom Brady has won 7 Super Bowl titles, more than any player or team in NFL history. Wow. The Jazz closed out a quick 3-game Eastern Conference road trip this afternoon with their 3rd game in 4 days against the Indiana Pacers. Joe Ingles in the starting lineup for the injured Mike Conley. And as usual, Jordan Clarkson came off the bench firing. Knocks down his 2nd straight 3 to put the Jazz up 3. He finished with 17 points. Donovan Mitchell also started strong in the first half. Knocks down 3 of his 18 points in the first half. He also passed the ball extremely well in this game. Watch this one, wings it into Derek Favors. 3-point play there. Second half, how about this pass from Mitchell to Rudy Gobert for the jam? The no-look bounce pass from Mitchell to the big guy who knows how to finish. And later in the third, Mitchell goes off the pick, knocks down another 3. He scored 27 points, just short of a triple-double. 11 assists, 9 rebounds. Here's another great assist. Back to Gobert, double-double for him, 16 points, 16 rebounds. Nice pass there by Mitchell. The Pacers did rally in the fourth. Domantas Sabonis scores it, tying it up at 83. But the Jazz hit some big shots down the stretch. First, Bojan Bogdanovic, bucket and the foul. Then out where we normally see him, 3-point range, knocks it down. He scored 18 points. And Ingles put it away with one more 3. The Jazz won at 103-95. They lead the NBA at 19-5 after winning 15 of their last 16 games. Tony Finau played in the European Tour this week at the Saudi International. He continues to play well, had a strong stretch in the back 9. Rolls in the birdie putt at the 11th. Also made birdie at the 12th. Then here on 13 from the rough, great approach shot and great distance control from that rough. Led to a 3rd straight birdie, and he was tied with Dustin Johnson, the world #1 for the lead at 14 under par, but 2 straight bogeys at 16 and 17 cost him. He did almost knock in this for an eagle on the 18th hole. He finished tied for 2nd place, 2 behind Johnson. The last 3 weeks, Finau's finished 4th and tied for 2nd twice. Unbelievable. On the PGA Tour, Brooks Kepka came from the back of the pack to win the Waste Management Phoenix Open while the leaders were falling back. Brooks birdied 13, 14, 15, and chips in for an eagle on 17. He won at 60. He shot at 65 to win by 1 shot at 19 under par. We got much more on the sports page. We'll be right back.
Well, finally tonight, a Weber High School sophomore is helping out a local homeless shelter with a little help from the community.
Carly Crockett hosted a food drive to donate to the Lantern House homeless shelter in Ogden. Crockett put together the drive in his assignment for her health class and got the idea from a fundraiser her school held in December. She got plenty of donations by the time Fox 13 arrived today.
I think it's really awesome that people are helping during COVID when a lot of people are having hard times. Just taking some time to help other people is great.
Well, the Lantern House homeless shelter in Ogden is always in need of help. If you would like to do that, we've posted a link to their website at fox13now.com. Such a kind gesture.
Such a nice gesture. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for Fox 13 News at 9.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Don't forget that QuickCast is coming up next, and then you get your sports fix right after that.
Bet.